What up, guys? This is Richard here again, here for another one of my newest selection of videos called Rick's Marvel Movie Talk. Now, as you can see, I'm dressed up a little fancier than I was before my first video. I actually just came back from work about an hour ago. So, the topic of conversation today revolves around Avengers Age of Ultron, specifically regarding Ultron. And no, it's not going to be something rumored about him or anything like that. I want to specifically talk about the status, the status of the villain per se, and how putting him, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, guys, how putting him in so quickly in that kind of setting, whereas you have with Thanos, you've built up to him in years and with 6, 7 different movies, if it's going to affect the setup for Ultron, and if it's going to be a good or bad thing. I'm going to keep this rather short because I don't think it's that big of a topic to actually discuss. I think this is really just an opinionated video, but I wanted to get it out there to just kind of get rid of any negative talk of anything, because let's be honest, Age of Ultron is going to be amazing. No matter what happens, Age of Ultron will be spectacular, just like every other Marvel movie. The only Marvel movie that everyone thinks is going to be a flop is Ant-Man. Hell, I thought that too, and I don't know anything about Ant-Man, and I'm actually kind of all for it now. But that's a different story in and of itself. So, with Ultron, they are not, as all you guys know, they have not led up to him at all. They're putting him in straight up in Age of Ultron. He's appearing there. He's staying there. That's his character. Now, put it to you this way. You don't need to introduce him sooner, because he is who he is. He doesn't have a background that you can have in a separate movie. It's not like you can have in Iron Man 3, the after credits scene of him working in his shop and creating an Iron Man suit, and then all of a sudden some kind of malfunction goes off in his warehouse, and he goes upstairs to Pepper, and you see the red eyes come out of the suit, and then cut to black. Or great, you could. You very much could. That'd be a nice scene. But that's all you get is the scene. You have a teaser. That's all. Whereas that's okay, and you can go with it if you want. You just don't need it. Ultron is going to be perfectly made into what he will be, and he will wreak havoc as he always has. Now, I'm going to use certain examples, like for Avengers 1, people have been saying, well, Loki was the the antagonist of Avengers 1, and they already had him in Thor. The problem, not even a problem, the thing with that is, with the Thor standalone movie, you kind of had no choice but to have Loki, because you're using the mythos of Thor. You're using that, I almost said Greek, and I should have slapped myself in the face for that Nordic mythology. The mythos has Loki. You can't do a Thor standalone without having Loki in it somewhere. Yes, he was the primary antagonist for that as well, and he was also leading into the Avengers, and yes, he was already introduced, but you didn't really have a choice, and two, you know that you had more of a story to it. There was a growing character development in Loki. You saw him go from, even though he already was this scheming, maniacal guy, you saw him go through this huge change just in Thor alone, from the soft-spoken, joking around brother to this maniacal and almost sociopathic man. And quite frankly, with Ultron, you have this, in theory, you have the same thing, but on a completely different scale. When we first meet Ultron, you're going to have this android mindset that believes it is... I'm going to throw a Doctor Who thing at you guys, and he believes he's upgrading the human race. He's upgrading them to perfection. But as he grows as a character, and it's a very small growth, because he's still, his mindset is still linked to world domination. But he grows to specifically dominate and annihilate the human race. It's like with the trailer at Comic-Con. I've yet to see the trailer at Comic-Con, but I've basically read the description of every little detail that happens. He walked, and for those of you who haven't seen the trailer or heard about the trailer, I'll explain it to you, so spoilers. Stop the video right now if you don't want to listen. Basically what happens is all of the Avengers are in the Avengers Tower, which was the Stark Tower in Avengers 1. It's now the Avengers Tower. And they're basically all trying to pick up Thor's hammer. Inevitably, they all fail. They all laugh. They have a good time. Cap actually does lift it off the table and kind of just holds it there. So, in theory, we can all say Captain America is a quarter worthy of the hammer of Thor and the power he holds. That's not me saying he's ever going to get the hammer. It's just a nice little gag. But anyway, basically what happens after that is Ultron comes out from the back room in this like beat up android, almost outdated Iron Man armor, and he says, I apologize if I'm not getting the line 100% correct. Something along the lines of the only way to true peace. And I know I'm only getting half the line. There's something before that, and I swear to God, I just can't remember. He says, the only way to attain true peace is by your annihilation. That is half the line. I'll give you that. I know I'm wrong, but it's half the line. The annihilation part I know is right. Oh no, it's extermination. By your extermination, not annihilation, so I was wrong. But with Avengers Age of Ultron, you are going to introduce this character that has the background specifically of Avengers. To get back to the point, his background solely lies in Avengers. Thanos is an overarching story. That's why he has so much lead-in. And what you see in Guardians of the Galaxy. You can tell by everything he says. He has a plan. He has something going on in his head, and he's gathering these Infinity Stones. You know something is going down. That's leading all the way to Avengers 3, guys. It's an overarching story that ties the MCU together. That's really all it is. And Ultron, he's not just a bad guy for the movie. He has his own story. He has his own agenda for this universe. And yes, he will only be in one movie, but this character will change not just the Avengers standpoint, but it will change the entire situation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It will have so much effect on them. It's specifically in my mind, Iron Man, specifically in Tony. Tony Stark will have a major change in his mindset. Like with Iron Man 3, he blew up his suits. He's gonna find this he's gonna find this android. If they're sticking with how they were originally talking about, that Tony Stark is gonna create Ultron instead of Hank Pym, he's gonna one day realize, oh my God, I created the most horrifying, evil being in the entire planet. He's not going to be able to live with himself. And that's going to carry on with him throughout the rest of the universe. Which will probably also affect, because they actually said, Josh Brolin specifically, the guy who plays Thanos specifically said, because him and Robert Downey Jr. in reality, and this is a friendly rivalry, I will say that, actually do have a Marvel rivalry going on. And Marvel wants to play on that. They've talked about that. He said that Marvel specifically wants to have fun with that rivalry they have with their characters. That could be an interesting playoff that Thanos could use what he did with Ultron against him or something like that. And now I'm rambling, guys, and I do apologize. But back to original topic. To my mind, having Ultron in a singular movie, not giving any kind of after credit scene or any kind of previous development, is not going to affect this movie at all. It's just going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You're going to see an amazing character development. You're going to see an amazing battle between the Avengers and Ultron's army. And you may even see another Thanos after credit scene. You never know. Hell, he might play a role in the third Avengers. You just never know. Marvel knows what they want to do. That's all you really gotta know. Marvel has a plan. They're going with it. And that's it for today, guys. Hopefully this video doesn't stray too far into your negative side, because I can already assume this is probably a rambling video, if anything. But I do appreciate you watching, and I'll be back with you for more.